Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today, we're zeroing in on a company you've asked us to explore, Galaxy Digital. It's a really fascinating player sitting right at that intersection of finance and, well, cutting edge blockchain tech. The central question we're tackling for you today, looking at the sources you shared, is basically, is Galaxy Digital a good time to buy right now? Our mission, as always, is to break down the latest info, the key insights, and the important considerations from the research. Really help you understand what matters with this company. Before we jump in, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Yeah, give us a like and definitely leave a comment. And hey, if there's another company you want us to look into next time, just drop its name in the comments below.
Okay, let's unpack this then. For those who might not be totally familiar, what exactly is Galaxy Digital? Why is it on our radar now?
Right. So Galaxy Digital is best understood as a leading crypto-focused investment bank and asset manager. Think of it like a major financial institution, but one that's completely dedicated to the digital asset world. This means they've got direct exposure to crypto trading, asset management, investment banking services, all within that ecosystem. That includes, the institutional DeFi space, decentralized finance, which is evolving super fast. They're right in the thick of it.
So they're not just in the crypto space. The sources suggest they're actively shaping it. You mentioned technological leadership earlier. How are they pushing boundaries?
That's a really good point. And it brings us to something crucial, their competitive edge. It's their first mover adoption of regulated equity tokenization. What's really groundbreaking here, and this is key, is that Galaxy Digital's actual public shares. They're now available as tokenized public shares right on the Solana blockchain. Now, this isn't just some tech gimmick. It really shows their foresight in merging traditional finance assets with blockchain. It basically sets a precedent for how equity might be structured, how it might be traded in the future. It's a clear statement,
Leadership.
Okay, so pushing boundaries, innovation. That's clear. But for investors, the big question is how that vision actually translates financially. Does this pioneering stuff mean stability, or are the numbers just reflecting that crypto roller coaster we always talk about? Oh, the numbers definitely tell that roller coaster story. That's pretty typical for this sector, actually. When we dig into the fundamentals, Galaxy Digital's revenue has been, highly volatile. It's directly tied to crypto trading volumes, asset management fees, their investment banking deals, profit margins. Historically, they've been thin, really thin, swinging between profit and loss depending on those big digital asset market cycles. And it's worth noting, current 2025 revenue and earnings projections, they weren't readily available in the sources as of early September. That's a bit of fog there.
Yeah.
And looking at financial health, the company is just inherently cyclical, very much tied to market sentiment around digital assets. Now, they've generally operated with a, let's say, manageable debt-to-equity ratio, but liquidity and leverage. You always have to watch those closely because the sector's just so volatile. Cash flow from operations has kind of mirrored this too, historically volatile, tied to crypto price swings. Now, those Q2 results from July, they reported a trailing 12-month revenue of $3.22 billion. Pretty hefty number.
That's impressive.
It does, but here's the catch. They actually recorded a net loss of $101.55 million. So, negative profit margins. Even with huge revenue coming in, the bottom line tells a different story. It shows how tough consistent profitability is in this space, even for a leader.
Right. Revenue doesn't always equal profit.
Exactly. And we also can't ignore their big move back on May 16th listing on Nasdaq. That exposed the firm to a much broader U.S. investor base, a major transition.
Okay, so for someone looking at this company, it sounds like you're not just investing in an innovator, you're kind of buckling up for the crypto market right itself.
That's precisely it. Their financial performance is highly sensitive to the overall health and sentiment of the crypto market. It's almost a direct proxy.
Understanding the business is one thing, but we also need to see how the market's reacting, right? What are the charts telling us? Short-term sentiment.
Yeah, let's look at the technicals. As of early September 2025, the shares are trading in roughly the $23.50 to $28 range, that kind of wide swing. Pretty typical for these crypto-linked stocks. Signals risk, but also opportunity, potentially. If we look at key levels, support seems to be holding around that $23 mark. That could be a floor if things dip. On the upside, near-term resistance is around $28.50 with another hurdle near $30. Those are levels where selling tends to pick up.
Okay, so support and resistance levels noted. What about indicators? moving averages RSI.
Right, so the 50-day simple moving average is actually trending up. That's usually a positive sign for short-term momentum, but it's converging with the 200-day moving average. When they come together like that, it can sometimes suggest, the trend might be stagnating a bit, or maybe consolidating, not a clear, strong direction.
So kind of sideways, maybe?
Could be. And the RSI, the Relative Strength Index, it's oscillating between 55 and 65. That indicates sort of neutral to maybe slightly bullish momentum. It's not overbought and oversold, but definitely not signaling a massive rally either. And overall volatility, still high, much higher than broader market indices, which just reflects that direct crypto exposure we talked about.
Okay, now let's get into the recent stuff because there was some genuinely groundbreaking news, right? This tokenization thing. I saw one source called it the most significant step towards institutional adoption of blockchain beyond just crypto. That's a bold claim. What makes this such a potential game changer? And maybe more importantly, how fast do you think mainstream finance might actually follow suit?
Yeah, that analyst isn't exaggerating, I think. On September 3rd, Galaxy really did make waves. First company to tokenize its SEC-registered public equity. On Solana, no less. This wasn't just a tech demo. It triggered a 3.81% jump in the stock price, boosted their visibility, liquidity. It absolutely positions Galaxy as a pioneer. Gives us a peek into how traditional finance might interact with blockchain down the road. As for mainstream finance following, the potential's huge, but it'll really depend on regulatory clarity, proving the benefits, efficiency, security. It's still early days. For now, Galaxy's definitely leading the charge. And analyst sentiment, while it's a bit mixed, average price targets are hovering around $35.33. So there's belief in the long-term potential, even with short-term questions.
That makes sense. But while this tokenization is grabbing headlines, some might say it's still pretty niche, right? In a very speculative sector. Does this move fundamentally change the long-term investment picture, or is it just adding another layer to an already complex risk-reward situation? And speaking of conviction, what's the insider activity telling us? Are they buying the hype?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The tokenization. It definitely boosts their brand, their strategic position, no doubt. But does it instantly de-risk the core business from those crypto cycles? Probably not. It's more of a future-focused catalyst. Its immediate profit impact still needs to be proven out.
Right.
Now, insider activity, always a key sentiment indicator. And we've seen some interesting things. The COO, Erin Elizabeth Brown, got a big options grant in August, 350,000 options, standard incentive stuff. However, that same COO also sold blocks of common shares in August.
Okay, selling too.
Yeah. And what's really noteworthy are multiple Form 144 filings that hit on September 3rd. These signal plan sales by insiders, we're talking significant volume, one block of 67,500 shares valued at like $1.65 million. Now, legally, these filings state the seller doesn't know of undisclosed bad news, but the sheer volume. Right after the big tokenization news, it raises a bit of a yellow flag, makes you wonder.
Yeah, you have to ask why sell now if the future's so bright?
Exactly. What's their real short-term view and overall sentiment? Still tracks crypto. Bad news in crypto tends to push the stock down, and, well, this insider selling doesn't exactly help counter that pressure.
Okay, so looking ahead then, what are the key dates, the potential game changers that listeners should keep an eye on? What could move the stock next?
Short term, the next quarterly earnings report expected sometime before November. That's always huge. Gives that snapshot of financial health. And of course, any big swing up or down in Bitcoin or Ethereum prices, that's an immediate catalyst for Galaxy. They're just tied together.
But the crypto beta.
Exactly. We've got specific dates, too. Institutional buying disclosures expected around September 30th. ETF and index rebalancing around October 5th. Then the big one, Q3 earnings release, penciled in for November 12th, followed by large asset manager updates around November 18th. Lots to watch this fall.
And longer term, beyond the next few months.
Longer term. Well, if that tokenized share model gets real traction, robust trading volume, that could justify higher multiples for the stock over time, prove the concept. Regulatory progress is massive, too. Any clarity or new rules around digital assets, good or bad, could really impact their business, their market. And don't forget, Galaxy has a history of M&A, buying opportunistically. That could always be in the cards, especially if the market dips.
Okay, beyond the note events, what about the rumor mill? Crypto loves speculation. Anything buzzing that could sway things?
Oh, definitely. Speculation is always swirling. There's market chatter about maybe a joint venture with a big Wall Street firm to build out that tokenization infrastructure. That would be huge validation.
Wow, yeah.
There's also talk Galaxy might get named as custodian or service provider for a U.S.-based crypto ETF. That'd be a nice recurring revenue stream. Some insiders have apparently mused about expanding tokenized equity to other blockchains, not just Solana, more reach. And lastly, analysts are debating if the company might start a big share buyback program if the stock price stays weak after the tokenization buzz fades. Signal confidence, support the price.
Always something bubbling under the surface. But let's talk risks. No investment is risk-free, and with Galaxy, some seem pretty pronounced. What are the big red flags you need to be aware of?
Absolutely critical to understand the risks here. They are substantial, stock-specific.
Yeah.
That revenue volatility we keep mentioning, it's directly tied to crypto cycles and trading volumes. Makes performance swing wildly. Regulatory uncertainty is huge too. Key jurisdictions, new rules, crackdowns, that's a constant threat. A major shift could totally change their game.
Right, regulation is the elephant in the room.
Always. Then, market and sector risks. Bitcoin, Ethereum prices. They can swing wildly, and that drags Galaxy's stock price around regardless of how well they execute. Counterparty risk is real too. We've seen it before, partners failing during downturns. That can hit their bottom line hard. And, broader macro stuff, geopolitics, financial shocks, anything that kills risk appetite tends to hit crypto and related stocks first. It really forces you, the listener, to ask, how much of this specific kind of risk are you truly comfortable with? It's not for everyone.
Okay, so after unpacking all of that, the innovation, the financials, the tech, the risks, what's the overall takeaway? Is Galaxy Digital a good time to buy now? Give us the bottom line.
All right, the bottom line. My overall rating, based on all this, lands at a 4 out of 10.
A 4 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah. Galaxy Digital remains a highly speculative equity. No way around that. Yes, it absolutely has clear tech leadership, sector relevance, that tokenization is genuinely innovative, but these positives are just significantly offset by that extreme revenue and earnings volatility, the heavy reliance on crypto market cycles, which are frankly unpredictable, and the ongoing regulatory question marks. Near-term technicals, they suggest choppy trading. No strong signal either way. And mid to long-term returns. They really depend heavily on how crypto adoption plays out, how regulation evolves, and whether these on-chain equity initiatives truly take off. And again, that recent insider selling. You really shouldn't ignore it. It might signal caution from those who know the company best and could pressure the shares.
So innovative but very risky.
That's the balance, yeah. Groundbreaking potential versus inherent significant volatility. So investment horizon. Really only suitable for short-term trading and only for experienced, risk-tolerant investors who are already watching crypto markets like a hawk. For most long-term portfolios, it's likely not suitable right now. Too much sector risk, firm-specific risk, and just not enough consistent profitability yet.
Okay, that's a clear assessment. Now, for a final thought to leave everyone with, considering Galaxy Digital's pioneering move into tokenized equity, what precedent does this really set for traditional markets? And, maybe more provocatively, how quickly do you think mainstream finance will truly embrace this kind of on-chain innovation beyond just crypto assets themselves? Something to ponder. Remember to subscribe, like, and definitely share your thoughts in the comments below. We really do love hearing from you. Thanks for tuning in to Investing Talk Podcast. We'll be back soon with another exploration into a company you want to know more about. Until then, stay informed and invest wisely.